Hi guys, Dr. Rebecca here, and I'm here with Dr. Nathan Warren.
Yeah.
We are, we got home from the office this evening. We are still open here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But let's be real, schools are closed, daycares are closed, so
Kids Forest School's not in.
Yeah, so we are actually jumping on right now before we go upstairs, and the kids maybe kind of jump in and ruin our Facebook Live here. But we wanted to take a second. We committed to doing a Facebook Live every night this week at 9 o'clock, answering our most frequently asked questions we're getting online here and in our office.
Yeah. So this topic tonight that I wanted to touch on about kids and fevers is, even though we're kind of engulfed in this coronavirus thing, this is still something I'm getting asked on a daily basis about, what do I do if my kids, get a fever? How do I respond to that? Is it dangerous? At what level is it dangerous? So again, we wanted to make sure that we go over this, type of information. I think it's important. I also think it's important since, again, we're kind of going through this whole, coronavirus, scare and again, situation to note that kids are not the ones that are getting hit with coronavirus from the standpoint of, symptoms. Most kids are actually going to be almost completely symptom free. And again, it's going to be, you really don't have to worry about it from that standpoint of the coronavirus, with kids. So, but that being said, we're still getting parents that ask us on a daily basis. So I want to make sure that we're addressing that and kind of going through some of that, proper information there.
So one of the reasons, sorry guys, I'm trying to pull up on our app. So if you hear us on here, that's why. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about fevers is because we have a lot of moms,
Yeah.
and we understand. We have Elijah, he's 4, and we have Rosie, who's 2. And if you guys are joining us, we're in the car so that we can do this live without children interrupting. Okay, that's why we're in the dark. We really wanted to come on here, but the one thing is this: it's not just I want to talk about like why not to be afraid of a fever. I want to talk about this because fevers are such an important part of healing.
Yes.
It's an important thing to develop in our children, to cultivate, to, not in a sense like encourage, but something that you want to happen so that you can create strong, resilient children. Guys, the way that we allow our children to have a strong immune system and to respond the appropriate way to pathogens is by allowing them to get sick and allowing them to support your natural healing process to fight this. Fever is a way that your child is fighting what they have, whether bacterial or viral. And guys, once we're done here, I can post all the studies you would love to read. I have this long list here from hospitals that are telling parents that you don't have to, treat a fever.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything. Well, Dr. Rebecca, what about brain damage? Your child's fever is not going to continue rising in the face of an infection.
Right.
Okay? It's when we're allowing children to be in hot cars that their body will get too hot. It's when we're continuing trying to suppress the temperature over and over again with medication that you see it spike up again. But your child is not, the studies are actually showing now that it's over 104 degrees where you'll see brain damage, and that around 103 degrees, 104 degrees is a really great way to fight bacteria and viruses. So it's understanding that really what's happening as parents is our own fear and not understanding and feeling like you can't control what's happening with your child. And I understand that. Like, Elijah has had his fevers on some nights where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just my heart melts. But I know that I'm not going to be able to protect my children from every single uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
Like, we cannot protect our children from every single uncomfortable thing. And not only that, we need to understand that those uncomfortable things make them stronger. And it is no different with a fever and allowing their immune system to fight something.
Yeah, it's a natural immune response, right? So, even the way that we talk about being sick in our culture, in our office, we change up the wording. I tell people and kids, you're expressing health, right? When your child is exposed to a foreign invader, again, their body is supposed to appropriately respond to that. And again, a lot of times that's with a fever, right? And that is an appropriate health response. And I think you said earlier, and I think what you meant to say is that there's not, again, when you're looking at fact versus myth, brain damage itself has only been shown in like around 108 degrees or greater. Yes. And that's because, again, it's in a situation where the child cannot control its actual heat temperature, right? So the hypothalamus of the brain has been overridden. So that means if you are, again, accidentally lock a child in a car, what ends up happening is in a hot car in the summer, they cannot control their internal temperature. It is now out of the control of the hypothalamus. But on a regular basis, when we're talking about natural response to a virus or a bacteria, we know that that is a natural health response, and that the body is not going to harm itself when it is, again, trying to make an uncomfortable situation for an invader. And so we know that there are myths and there are facts about fever. Number one, let's establish that fevers are a natural health response and are fantastic for the body to actually go through in order to be able to make, again, neutralize a virus or make it an uncomfortable situation for a foreign invader. Number two is that, again, noting that just because a fever is at 103 or 104 does not mean that it's a dangerous thing, right? And so, again, knowing that what can we do in those situations where our child is having a 103, 104 degree temperature, think about what can I do to support the body's own immune response, right? Not what can I do to stop the body's immune response. What can I do to, again, appropriately, just support that process? And so, some of the things that we like to do, things like, lukewarm baths, we love to do that. We love to use things like certain essential oils on the bottom of their feet. We'll use some really gentle oils on the bottom of their feet.
I mean, a big thing is, we've diluted like frankincense in olive oil. That's been really helpful for us. But a big thing is keeping hydration up, like doing coconut water. We'll do coconut water popsicles. We'll support them with vitamin C.
We use Ultima. That's a good
electrolyte drink. Ultima is a really great electrolyte drink. We'll do buffered vitamin C, very bioavailable. We'll put this powder into the water. The kids love it when they're expressing health or when they're, not expressing symptoms. We do the vitamin D. We do vitamin A, E, and K. Yeah, we do minerals like zinc. So we support the body. But I want to read this off really quick, because whenever I share this resource, people are truly shocked. So I'm just going to wrap up. All of these are myths. This is put out by the Seattle Children's Hospital. It's a children's hospital and a research center. Are you guys ready for this? These are all myths. Are you ready? Myth. Here we go. Let me get to a good one here. All fevers are bad for children. That's a myth.
Yes.
So this hospital that is in charge of seeing children with serious health issues, what do we see? Fevers turn on the body's immune system, and they can go all the way to up to 104 degrees and are good for sick children. Myth. Here we go. Seizures with fevers are harmful. That's a myth. Myth. This is a really important one. All fevers need to be treated with fever medicine. That is a myth by Research Children's Hospital, okay? Wrong. Listen to this. This is how they explain it. No, not all fevers need to be treated with fever medicine. Here we go. Or without treatment, fevers will keep on getting higher. Wrong. Because the brain knows when the body is too hot.
Yeah.
A fever is the brain's response. Yes.
Wait a second. Hold up a second. our bodies and our brain are intelligent? You mean they've literally been designed to deal with this? Yes, we've got to stop buying in to this mindset that our bodies are just broken down, dumb machines that have no clue what's going on, that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden there's viruses going on. Our bodies have no idea what to do with it. No, they've literally been designed to literally deal with these foreign invaders, with viruses and bacteria. And I call them foreign invaders. We shouldn't even call them that, right? We're literally made up of microorganisms. You are more of a virus than you are bacteria, and you're more bacteria than you are cells. So technically, you're more of a virus than you are a human cell, you know? So bottom line is, the way that we've really, kind of introduced this whole idea that we have to wage war on microorganisms all the time when it comes to medications and, other forms of again, waging war on microorganisms, it's insane. You're not going to change a virus or a bacteria. All you can focus on is your response to it. So when it comes to your children, when they get a fever, right, understanding that there doesn't have to be fear behind it, right? We don't have to be afraid of the body's natural healing process. What we can do is, again, we can support that, right? If your child is uncomfortable, that doesn't mean that you can't do things like give them lots of love and cuddles and lots of kisses and, hold them close and do things like lukewarm baths, make sure they're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals, making sure that they're staying well hydrated. Again, with things like we said, like Ultima with electrolyte drinks, there's plenty of them out there, but making sure that they're staying supported as their body is naturally fighting off, what it needs to do. It's actually creating an immune response. And that's a great thing, because here's what I've noticed in clinical practice. The kids and the patients that do not respond appropriately with things like a fever and making sure that the immune system is engaged the way it's supposed to, those are the ones that end up with a hyperactive immune system and develop autoimmune conditions. Those are the ones, right? Or like, one of the most famous childhood cancer researchers of all time that was literally knighted because of his work. One of the things that he showed, that every single patient that he has looked at with childhood cancer, specifically leukemia, is that they had a couple things in common. And one of those is that the child was not sick through his first year of life. That means we've tried to literally avoid all microorganisms. Don't let your child get sick. And because they didn't have an appropriate immune response and they're not building up the immune system, it actually led to more dangerous things later on. So we have to support the body's innate healing system, and a part of that process is a fever.
Yeah. And so again, the biggest thing I hear is that most parents nowadays don't want to give stuff like Tylenol, because listen, even if it's baby Tylenol, it's still Tylenol. Yep. It's still bypassing the body's natural healing. I get it, your child's uncomfortable, but allow them to sleep and cuddle and read books to them. But I think the biggest problem, again, is this idea that, well, my child's really uncomfortable and I should do something about it. Your child's body is developing, it's changing, it's getting stronger. And we know for a fact that our immune system has memory cells. Yep. By allowing your child to naturally grow through this infection, whether viral or bacterial, what you're doing with their immune system is creating this lifelong immunity, these memory cells that will now remember these types of particles and will know how to respond. And why does that matter? It matters because you're setting your children up to be healthy for the rest of their lives. For example, a simple example, well, you said that one about leukemia, kids aren't getting sick. And so this man, the scientist that has been studying it for decades, said it's because children are not getting sick. They're having an overactive response. But another thing is something as simple as exposing a child to measles. Now we're seeing these studies that are saying, well, wait a minute, if we use the measles virus and we create these antibodies inside the body, then we can fight blood cancers. So by training a child's immune system, you're setting them up to be able to fight who knows what else for the rest of their lives. And one interesting thing too about the coronavirus that I kept reading about is one of the reasons they're suggesting that children are not being affected by this is because children are being exposed to a ton of viruses at this age, all the way around. Elijah went to Disney World and licked everything, you know? That kid probably got exposed to 150 viruses while we were there at Disney World.
Who is a scientist you referred to in the study? Well, we'll find the article and we'll post it for you.
We did a video on it, but I will get that. He just got knighted. I'm pretty sure if you just Googled knighted scientist leukemia researcher, it'll come up because it was trending when it happened. So this was last year, I think the beginning of last year. But we'll post all these resources for you guys in the caption.
And I want to say this too. So if you're, because I get this a lot, even from family members, if you are supporting your child with, again, they're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals, they're eating well, you're making sure that you're taking care of them from a whole health perspective. And there's still, it's been a few days and they still have a cough or they're still, fighting things off. Remember, you also have to give it time, right? There's no magical supplement out there. Like, I don't care what it is. There's no magical supplement out there that is going to take the place of time for the body to actually heal. So you got to give it time too. You're doing all the right things, right? Don't beat your head up against a brick wall thinking, oh, what am I missing here? I have a lot of patients that will ask me all the time and they list out, the 5-6 different supplements they're doing. They're telling me that they're eating well, that they're working on sleeping and resting, but they're like, why isn't it? Just give it time. And again, just continue to rest, do the things that you know are going to move the dial on your health, and just trust your body is designed to heal. It is designed to heal. Now, what are some red flags, right? As your parents, because I know this as a parent, that there's questions, that people are going to have. Well, what about the red flags? What do you guys look for? So some of the red flags that I would look for, that we look for, if my child had, had a fever and then was complaining about things like a stiff neck, or, stiffness in their spine that, again, our kids stay adjusted. If they're complaining about that, I know that's a red flag. I'm going to then, pursue getting further testing and finding out really what's going on. And again, that's where our medical system is very good at what they do. That's a red flag to me. Another red flag is if I see that my child kind of goes from being like tired and exhausted to like now they're like almost like lethargic and unresponsive. That's not my child.
Let's make a difference though, because I've had people say, oh my gosh, no, they're just like really tired. Like they're just like laying on the couch. No. We're talking about lethargic is limp, loss
not
of
responding
eyes, not responding. Then you need to get them,
it's different, right? Or, again, I always, tell parents this too, because I know there's a strong intuition in a mother, right? And again, if you listen, there's a difference though between fear and intuition. So recognize that those are two completely different things. We don't want to be driven by fear, but there is an intuition that I believe is, maybe in parents, but especially in moms, that if you're like, man, this is not my child, this doesn't feel right, go with your gut. There's nothing wrong with getting them checked, right? It doesn't mean that you always have to go by the book, taking a bucket of medications to try to get this child well. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with getting them checked. So again, I always tell mothers, that are out there too, go by your intuition as well, but don't be driven by fear. That is what I hope this post more than anything like really helps to instill in you guys during this, not only coronavirus, but any time, is that we do not need to walk in a pathway of fear when it comes to our health. The more that you walk in fear, the more that's going to happen, right? I mean, it's just remember the times in your life where you said, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. What happens? That very thing that you keep saying, I don't want to happen. We do not want to walk from a phase of fear. We want to walk, more in faith, but also too in wisdom. Right? Yeah. Those things go hand in hand. Most people, when I say, oh, I want you to walk in faith, they're like, oh man, but we're not going to be smart. Listen, faith and wisdom go together. They go absolutely together. So making sure that you are doing the things that naturally build up the body, supporting the body's immune system, and recognizing that the body is stinking smart. Your child's body is amazing. It's designed to heal.
I think that's a big thing I would want everyone to take from this. Like, as a parent, is knowing that your child's body was fearfully and wonderfully made. And to trust the process. I mean, you've just got to trust the process, because for me, like seeing, parents, especially mothers, just kind of worry about their child not being well, and that worry of they're not comfortable, and their worry of this protection. Like, we're amazing protectors, but we also have to allow our children to grow and to develop and to be strong. So, guys, just to wrap it up, a fever, and I've had people say, like, hey, what thermometer do you guys use? We just pay attention. Why? Because, I came across this hospital page and I read the studies, and what I'm going to do over what trumps everything is how my child is reacting and how they're feeling. And most of the time when I tell parents to pay attention and not worry about that number, they're like, oh yeah, they just went to sleep and they woke up and they're playing now. So we pay attention to our child. We allow the fever to do what it's created to do, and then we work with the immune system by baths, by essential oils diluted on the bottom of the feet, like frankincense, and what's another one?
We'll use again. We like to use things like Genova makes some good homeopathic, right, to support the immune system. We said fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, K.
On our website at doctorswarren.com, there's a blog post of what we keep in our medicine cabinet of all the supplements that we really, really love to use. So everything that we use is working with their immune system, not bypassing it. So be strong, guys. We're always here if you guys have any questions at all. We will be coming back tomorrow night at 9, and we're going to be talking about elderberry.
Yeah.
It's really crazy right now, controversial.
And this whole cytokine storm that's been kind of circulating. We'll dive into all of those details tomorrow night. But again, walk in faith, not in fear, and recognize your body is intelligent and it's designed to heal, and it knows what it's doing all the time. All right, guys. Hope you have a good night. See ya.